Hello everyone. So now we are moving on to week number 2. Looking back on the week number 1, I hope at least you're very familiar with how the course is going to be run based on the course syllabus. And also for review tutorial series part 1, I really hope that even though it's very long hours you have to watch for the videos, but at least you found the videos informative and also clear. If you got any doubts about any concept or skills I mentioned in the videos, please get in touch with me. Either ask me during the Q&A, drop by my office hour, or if you want to make appointments, make appointment with me, or just email me. Okay, I'll be very happy to answer your questions and help you learn, help your learning. Okay, that's my job. Okay. All right. So as usual, for the introductory video, I like to spend some very quick time going over with you what you're supposed to do for the coming week. So now for week number 2, I'm going to tell you your main job is really to finish the tutorial. Review tutorial series part number 2. I just finished recording part number 2 and now it's fresh actually for you to study as soon as you finish tutorial part 1. Okay, let me now go over the work items, and then I think at the end I will also go over the semester calendar to tell you where we are, where we have been, and where we will be, just to give you some look ahead. So hopefully it can keep you motivated for completing the work items. Any time you spend in the first 2 weeks reviewing the OOP concept, any time will not be wasted. They're all gonna pay off, for your understanding for the more advanced stuff, and also for the programming tests, and also for the written test, and eventually for the exam. Okay, let's now go over for week number 2. And for week number 2, you will see on the lectures page on EECS2030 Fall 21. I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with this link already. And this is the current intro video that I just listed on the course website. So now we are talking about week number 2. Okay, and then you will see the intro notes I'm making now. And then for the lab instruction, I will put also lab 1. I also put the lab 0 part 2. Instruction under here, just in case the E-class crashes down. And then for the review tutorial series, if you go to the website, if you go there, for example, let's say go to the web page, if you click on the tutorial videos playlist, if you click on that, so that's the part 1 you're supposed to study and submit for grading for week number 1. For week number 2, starting on Wednesday, September 15th, you're supposed to get started on week part 2 over here. So that's a part 2 for the review tutorial series. Specifically, I've focused on the more challenging aspects for the introduction to OOP, namely how you can manipulate and declare reference type attributes, either single valued or multi-valued. That's what you will see in the tutorial series. I try to be very thorough and complete and make the videos very self-contained to actually help you learn and also review. So please really be patient and go through them all for your week number 2. Okay. Also, there is a submission deadline for your part 2 code, so you can refer that to your lab manual to see the precise time for the submission. Okay. And something I want to emphasize, according to my experience, I'm pretty sure some of you might be, even though you agree that the videos are useful for your review, on the other hand, you might feel frustrated that the videos are very long, that will eat up a chunk of time of yours. I admit that the videos are very long, but I don't really want to compromise any clarity or thoroughness of my teaching by making the videos shorter. I believe they really deserve those lengths for the discussion. So just to make you feel a little bit better, let me tell you the following facts. Okay, so for your part 1 of the tutorial, okay, so we talk about tutorial part 1 and also part 2. Okay, I think part 1 is about 4.2 hours roughly, and also for part 2 it's actually longer than part 1. And I know because we haven't really assigned to you any actual laboratory exercise just yet, you will start from lab 1 later. So that's why I want to give you a little bit more hours of chances to review the OOP concept. For part 2 of the tutorial, I think it's about 5.3, 5.4 hours, about that long. Okay, to make you feel a little bit better, for what's worth, it took me about double the time to record these videos, to really set up the slides, set up the Eclipse, also set up the iPad notes for visual illustration. Sometimes I fail to actually to really achieve the quality that I would like to achieve. In that case, I gotta re-record the videos. So it turns out I spent maybe more than 10 hours for your part 2 of the tutorial series. So I definitely also spend time. So you're not the only one who work hard. So hopefully that can let you feel a little bit better. All right. Anyway, for part 2, you got to finish that, and also you can refer to the Lab 0 part 2 instruction for detail. Okay, that's the main thing you want to complete. And you can always click on the iPad notes over here. If you go there, let me just show to you quickly. If you go there, click on iPad notes. So you will see all the notes are up to date. In case you don't see, let's say 15 something pages, you have to refresh your browser. Okay, just make sure you do that. The notes. Maybe that's, oh, sorry, not this one here. I clicked on the wrong thing, beg your pardon. It should be the iPad notes over here, right? Okay, that's the one. So that should be 16 pages. If you don't see 16 pages, you want to make sure you refresh your browser. And in that case, you will see all the notes over here, which I did in the tutorial videos, okay? Let me go back and then notice that the slides for classes and objects, they have been updated for the coming week for September 15. So I noticed some there could be some reduction on the slides when I was recording part 2 of the tutorial video. So you can definitely re-download the slides and make sure you get an up-to-date one. Okay. And also for the required written notes, I cannot emphasize more, especially for declaring and manipulating reference type multi-value attributes. You definitely should actually study this note. It's required. It's not optional. Okay. If you click on this notes, you will see the PDF over here. I also emphasize that in the videos for part 2. Okay. Okay, and then you can also post your questions for part 2 as you study by following this link. So please make sure you choose the right link to post the question to the part 2. Otherwise, I'll miss them. Okay. All right, so that's about the study materials you got for this week. Basically, just go for part 2 of the tutorial series. And let me tell you what the work items are and also learning objectives for this week. So we're going to continue with our review of the object-oriented programming in Java. Okay, specifically, as I said, we're going to focus on reference type attributes. Reference type attributes, meaning that the attribute itself is not going to store simple values like an integer, boolean, or character. It is going to store addresses or address for addresses of some other objects. Okay, that's the principle. And we're going to talk about 2 cases, either single valued or multi-valued. Specifically, we're going to look at how you can use the square bracket notation for primitive array. We're going to build everything from scratch. Okay, that's also your requirement for the later programming tests. That's something I will give you more instructions about. Okay, and we'll review some syntax for the loops and also complicated dot notation. You will see what I mean when you go over the tutorial videos. And also, we're going to do unit testing as last time. And also using assertions, I'll show you a few more assertion types. You can also gain more hands-on experience in Eclipse. And also I'll do also lots of tracing for the object creations and method calls. I think in 1 or 2 of the videos, they go one of the videos actually go to about 40 minutes or so for the tracing. For that one there, it took me quite a bit of time to actually get it to the level I would really like to reach. I'm quite happy with the recording quality. However, I would say you gotta be patient for that particular tracing video. That one there, I really try to show a single complete session between the Eclipse and also the iPad paper. So to show you the correspondence and really to show you how you can understand the behavior of your OO program. Okay, I would say just be patient to watch the video. And then I also show you how you can do debugger, right? That's also one of the focuses for this review tutorial. All right, so that's about the review topics. You can go over, as you go over the tutorial videos, you will see exactly how in-depth I actually try to cover them. What about for week number 2? Let me just give you some idea about in terms of the semester calendar. Okay, where can you see the semester calendar? Go back to the home page for the EECS2030, right? This is the page. And you will see under the syllabus section there, you will see semester calendar. If you click on that, so this is what you will see, okay? Let's now put ourselves into perspective, right? So far, we are here. We are now, officially, you should really start with the Lab 0 part 2 of the tutorial series from September 15th, okay? And so far, I'm hoping that you have at least completed most of the Lab 0 Part 1, which was released last Wednesday. Okay, and notice that Lab 0 Part 1 will be due on the coming Friday on the 17th. And let me give you some look ahead. So officially, you're supposed to get started with the Lab 0 Part 2 on 15th, and then it will be due in about 10 days. Okay, so that will be due on September 24th. Okay, you got about 10 days, and since I said it's about 5.4 hours, so you may just want to watch one to two, maybe at least 2 videos, each one of them maybe about 20 minutes long. You want to make sure you do some steady progression rather than trying to watch all the 5 hours maybe the day on the submission. That's not the way I would recommend, but of course it will be your decision. But I would say if you can start early, if you can start in a steady pace, why not? Okay, that's about Lab 0 Part 2, and then just get ready that we're so after Lab 0 Part 2 we complete the review series for OOP. So starting from week number 3 over here on September 20th on schedule, I'm going to release week number 3 lecture to you. Okay, and that'll be the normal lecture with mainly the slideshow and without too much Eclipse. So I think for the first 2 weeks, I try to give you more focus on the Eclipse and help you develop programs. But later on, I'm going to focus more on the slides. But I can still show you some Eclipse at some time, at some point later. Okay, and then your lab number 1, which will require your understanding about Lab 0 Part 1 and Lab 0 Part 2, it will be released on September 22nd on Wednesday. Okay, so I would say your best preparation for your lab number 1 would be definitely to complete the tutorial series Part 1 and Part 2 as soon as you can. Ideally, before the 21st, in 1 week. In that case, just watch maybe at least half an hour of the tutorial video every day. Okay, this is how much. Okay, but just got to do it every day. Looking ahead, your very first test for the written test will be coming on week number 4, and it will be based on at least the the tutorial series Part 1 and Part 2. I'll give you the precise coverage and some practice question a little bit later. Okay, it's still a little bit too far away, but I just want to give you a look ahead. And then before the reading week, you also got your programming test number 1. It will definitely also based on partially your Lab 0 Part 1 and Lab 0 Part 2, what you did actually over there. All right, and also Lab 1 as well. Okay. All right, so that's about helping you to really put yourself into perspective. Let me now go back to the reminder about the milestone you're supposed to do. Right, so for this week, on Friday, you want to make sure you submit your Lab 0 Part 1 in time. Okay, and then for your Lab 0 Part 2, that you're supposed to start on September 15, Wednesday, there are going to be 17 videos, 17, okay, from 14 to 30, right? If you go back to the link over here, you will see exactly what I meant. You can see here, okay? So from 14 to 30, okay? Part 14 to part 30, you got 17 videos to study. Okay, and then as I said, looking ahead, we got your lecture week number 3 coming next Monday, and also you got your lab 1 released next Wednesday, and also your written test number 1 in about, let's see, to be more precise, you can see we are now over here today, right, about here, and then if you see the written test is about 2 weeks away. Okay, so you may want to, so the best preparation you can have is to make sure you grasp solid understanding from the review tutorial series, and later on do your best for your lab 1. Okay, and if you got any questions for clarification, please get in touch with me early rather than late. Okay, and if you want some extra practice, as I mentioned in the first week, you can definitely refer to my Winter 21 tutorial series for 1022, and you don't need to watch all the videos, just choose the relevant ones you want to watch. That might interest you. If you're not too sure which ones to watch, you can speak to me. I might just give you some advice. Okay, all right, that's about what you have to do for week number 2. I hope that's clear, and as ever, if you want any advice or any question answered, please get in touch. All right, happy studying.